Hey onesies, Josh Williams here, and thanks for checking out this week's episode of the One Man Podcast. It's always free and available on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play Music, and many more, as well as on the web at onemanpodcast.com. So please, whatever platform you're listening on, like and subscribe. While you're at it, give it a rating, leave a review. Why? Because it helps the podcast, and I'd really appreciate it. How about that? What about social media? Search One Man Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube to keep up with what's going on there. Get a little extra content for yourself. And finally, to get in touch, please send your emails to contact@onemanpodcast.com. You send it, I read it on the podcast. That's the deal. Thanks for listening, guys, and I hope you enjoy this week's episode.
Hey, it's Krista Allen. You're listening to the One Man Podcast.
Yeah! It's Josh Williams, and welcome to the One Man Podcast, episode number 138 for Wednesday, January 1st, 2020. Yeah, like the vision. Happy New Year, onesies. Welcome back to the One Man Podcast. I'm doing this with the regular setup, good mics, and I not on time, though. This is the second podcast that has been late, only being because I've been super sick, and recording days have been either Christmas Eve or Christmas and, New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. And all four of those, I was very sick, not loving life. So I've been trying to get better. I find myself, spending most of the time during the day in bed, trying to feel better. And then in the evening, somebody ends up dragging me out. I say that like I have no accountability for it. People will, let's put it this way. During the holidays, you have commitments, right? So, doing that fun stuff. So I'm still sick. Got all sorts of things to talk about this episode. It's not going to be a long one, guys, only. It's just because it's late and I'm trying to get it done. I'll start by saying I recorded a bonus episode of the podcast with a friend of mine, Rory Gardner. He's a great comic, great musician. That episode will be available for you guys soon. Recorded that earlier today. All the equipment's out, so I'm trying to bang this, both of them out at the same time. I knew I'd be doing that, so thought, hey, I may as well try to get this done at the same time. So even though I was delayed, I knew I'd be setting up this week. So I'll have next week's set on time. I promise. So in terms of what's going on with me, like I said, been sick a lot, spending a lot of time in bed. To be honest with you, sleeping, like sleeping till like 2, 3 in the afternoon, just trying to get better. But I'm dealing with illness and it doesn't seem to want to leave. So trying to rest as much as I can. Let's see here. Let's talk a little bit here because, I'm basically sharing with you guys beyond the point that it was. So like January 2nd, I went out with my mom there. We spent a day running around doing some shopping and, we went to have dinner at the, OLG slots, the Hard Rock Casino there. It was nice. I got to spend some time with her. I didn't really get to see her a lot during the holidays, only because, I don't want to say she was busy. She was busy. She's helping my brother out who's not doing well. He's got a busted leg. So my mom's doing a ton of work for everybody right now. So I tried to leave her alone and let her have her own time. So it was nice to see her on Wednesday. That's not Wednesday. It was Thursday. Jeez, it's Friday already. Yeah, it's Friday. Like I said, this episode is for Wednesday, January 1st, but this is way behind. It's way behind. I'm having me a little sippy sip of some Brookladdick here. It's the first day I felt interested in alcohol in the slightest, but it's just something to sip on. I was chatting with Simon earlier about our trip to Scotland. So we were doing some planning as to what distilleries we're going to see and where we're going to go and what days we should go and all that fun stuff. So I needed something to keep the whistle a little wet during this episode, and I decided to go with a little dram of Brookladdick, a nice Islay peated scotch. Oh, you can taste that earthy, peaty. Oh, great taste, smoky. It has a nice, like, sort of sweet kind of, I don't know if it's honey or it's definitely not caramel, but it's like a sweet honey in the background too. Sorry, I guess you have to hear me smack, but it's a tasty one. All right, this one, like I said, it is going to be short because it's mostly about just getting it out there and telling you guys what's going on. I've been slacking on this podcast hard lately. I know, I'm aware, but to be honest with you, it's sick. The holiday season is rough, man. It's rough. I was chatting with here's the story. Yeah, like I said, I spent some time with my mom doing some window shopping and having dinner. I went to go see my friends Mika and Mel. We played another couple of games of Pandemic Legacy. That game is very stressful. It is tough. We were playing last night. I was like, can you imagine how easy a regular game of Pandemic must seem after this one here? With just how many rules change on the Pandemic Legacy game. But it was fun. We had a good time. So yeah, I must apologize because there's really not a lot to talk about this week. I do want to share with you guys some of the New Year stuff, some of the plans for, what I got going on the new year, what's going to happen this new year. So, I'll start by saying that you know what I actually did this week, guys? One of the things I did this week was I ended up putting a bunch of stuff that I don't need anymore on Kijiji, right? Like the online sales things, and actually had some good results with that. I moved, I think 75% of the stuff that I put on Kijiji sold within a couple of days. So that was great. I'm home in my underpants. The doorbell rings for someone to come pick something up and put money in my mitt. I'm like, oh, that makes me happy. So I did that. The biggest part of my week was putting on pants. I also was, so here's the thing. I went out New Year's Eve. I'll tell you my resolutions in just a minute, but I went out New Year's Eve to Absolute Comedy. I was not feeling, I was still feeling like, I want to say sick. Both basically it's been coughing and not able to sort of stop coughing. But New Year's Eve, I got a little low, just down, very down on New Year's Eve. And it was tough. I was like, everyone was gone. Most of the people were going to be at Absolute Comedy. Kamar was hosting. Jason, of course, the owner, is going to be there. Simon was working it. So I'm like, everyone's going to be at Absolute Comedy. I'm home alone. And I'm like, I was just feeling really down. To put context in it, rather than me just complaining, because that's what I was going to say about seeing Mika and Mel. I was talking to Mel. I'm like, so Mel told me she used to listen to the podcast when it first started. She's like, you just kind of complain about what's going on in your life. I'm like, yeah, well, it's my outlet. And she goes, well, I just don't know if I can listen to you complain. All right, well, then don't listen. You know, I guess that's the best I can do until I can turn my life around so I'm just happy all the time and have nothing to bitch about. But for the time being, I'm like, yeah, I had complaints. So this episode is not supposed to be so much complainy, but it is that my first official date and kiss and etc. with Crystal was on New Year's. So we were hanging out and seeing each other years and years ago, but, we knew we were interested in each other, but I didn't ask her to go on a date with me or anything like that until like late in December. And I thought it would be sweet for like our first, official date or whatever to be on New Year's. So, I was even like, it would be very cool to have our first kiss at midnight on New Year's. So it was just one of those things like, I was sweet about it and I waited and I wanted to be, nice and special, whatever. I wasn't trying to be hacky romantic. I just thought it was kind of cool. We'd been boyfriend and girlfriend when we were young. So it's not like, oh my God, we've never done this or whatever, but it was just, I thought it was kind of nice that after we were sort of hanging out and sort of seeing if we were still interested in each other and whatnot, that the first kiss be on midnight. So, midnight has always, even when we weren't together, I don't think there was many midnights where we weren't, many New Year's, I should say, where we weren't together. But, yeah. And I knew this would be the first one that I wouldn't hear from her or anything like that, on midnight. So I was just feeling a little bummed out. All right. And I'm human. So if you can't understand that, I'm sorry. But yeah, the doing the holidays alone and sick and then having that night being home alone and still not feeling well, I'm like, I got to go out. So I was home for a while and then I ended up going to the club around 11 to, see my friends, Kate Davis, Nick Reynoldson. It was cool to see everybody at the club. And then, after midnight, Jason's usually like, it's one of his little nice things to the staff is, it's open bar for the staff, once everyone's done and this and that, we can have some drinks on him. So very nice and kind of him. I had some drinks and I was worried about that too. Cause I'm like, I know that the drinking is a depressant. So I'm like, I don't know if I want to go to the club and start drinking, start sending drunk text messages at midnight. That's not me. I don't do that. But I was like, I know I'm very capable of like, whatever happened to us, fully drunk. So I decided, but I still went. I went and I had some drinks and then people were putting shots in me faster than I could think. And here's a beer and and I got not well not well in not too long of a time. I think about like, 2:00 in the morning. I was not well. And I don't like to drink like that. I don't. People are asking me like, when you go to Scotland, you go to all these distilleries, you're going to get shit faced. I'm like, not really. I mean, I'm sitting here with an ounce of scotch in my glass and it'll still be half there by the time I finish this podcast. Like I don't drink a lot. I would rather sip something and taste it than just to pound shit back and get hammered. That's not my thing. I don't like that. So I felt myself not doing well at Absolute, starting to feel a little sick to my stomach. So I came home and, for the first time in a long time, I threw up there. I was actually like, I'd got myself into bed and I'd been there for a while and all of a sudden I just hit that stomach like, oh, you're going to puke. So I sang into my waste paper basket next to the bed. And the first heave, you want to gross you guys out, first heave knocked my fucking aligners off my face and into the bucket. So that was a fun little scavenger hunt. So yeah. Yeah. Then I put them back in without which, no, I'm kidding. I cleaned them and brushed my teeth and all that shit, but it was just like, I did not feel well. And then I think the next day, nobody in the house even like left their room until like 2 or 3 in the afternoon. I ended up getting Uber Eats, which I don't normally do because it's way too much money. It's a fucking waste of money. Delivery fees plus service fees plus tax plus, well, tax you pay regardless, but tip is the one I was looking for. That was the T word I was going for. Service fees, delivery fees, and tip. You end up paying like $15 more for the meal than what it was. So, but I ended up seeing some cheap delivery fees on Subway, and that sort of coincided with my New Year's resolutions. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna do that. So I don't think I did anything productive on the first until well into the evening, because that night, Nick Reynoldson, his lovely girlfriend Rena, and Kate Davis came to the house, and then the whole household and a bunch of us played some card games and some board games and things like that. It was actually pretty cool, low profile New Year's Day Eve that we had here at the house. But holy fuck, was I hungover most of the day? Like I did not feel. Yeah, I'm too old, man. I'm 36, soon to be 37, and I am too old to be getting, shit faced. I don't like getting that drunk. It's been years since I've like, it was just, I hadn't eaten that day either. That's the thing, was home sick. And I think I'd made like some leftovers in the morning. So just one meal. And then the whole rest of the day, feeling bummed out and down on myself. I just hadn't eaten. I wasn't feeling very hungry or whatever. So then I drank on an empty stomach, and yeah, what should scientifically happened. Gonna have a little sip of this here. You get in my mouth here. Brook Latic is what I'm drinking. The classic latte. It's tasty. Whiskey. Scotch. I love scotch. Yeah. So, what did I do? We did the games, we did the New Year's Eve. Man, I could burn out this podcast in like fucking couple minutes. I don't have a lot. I also just spent like 2 hours talking with Rory, so I'm kind of not a lot of gas in the tank here. But I went with Jay one of the nights too to the casino. I can't remember. I think it was like the night before the 30th or whatever. We went to the Hard Rock Casino. We gambled. We won some money, not a ton, just some money, and we had a good time. Basically just distracting myself lately. I haven't been focused on the album too much. By the way, it is now January. Please get your tickets for, my headline set at Absolute Comedy in Ottawa. That'll be from the 21st, I believe, to the 26th. Then in Kingston, I'm going to be there the week before headlining. So Absolute Comedy Kingston. That's where you can see yours truly working on the album. But I would love for you guys to be there. The 24th and the 25th are the 2 nights that I'm recording my album. Would love to have you guys there for that. Yeah, so here's my here. We're like 15 minutes in. I'll get to this real quick, and then we can just ride off into the sunset as a team. What do you think? What do you think, gang? Let's just do that. In terms of my New Year's resolution, so here's the thing, right? Everyone's, new year, new me, all that stuff. I'm not trying to be that. I've been trying to get better, right? We're all just trying to get better all the time. Forget the calendar shift. Like, that makes a difference. This year, I'm going to I keep saying it every year, but this is the year that I'm really going to take my health into consideration. So I've decided that I'm going to be splitting the year up into to quarters. And the first quarter, my resolution is no drive-through, no fast food. I'm still trying to figure out what I consider to be fast food, but 100% no drive-through. So even if I'm going to go to the only thing I've made acceptable for drive-through is coffee. So if I need to get a drive-through coffee, I'm allowed to do that. But no drive-through food. And even if I'm going to cheat, then I got to park the car and get out and go in, which completely eliminates the point for some of these things. I'd rather go somewhere I'd like if I'm going to go in. Like as in good food. So I think that Subway having it delivered to me counts. I think that I was good on that. I could have gotten pizza or some other shit food. Jay and Noreen got Uber Eats McDonald's, which is garbage. I don't know why you would pay. That's not even enough time to get it to you before it's not food anymore. So, excuse me. I decided to, I had the Subway. I had lots of veggies. So on my hungover day, I ate bread and salad. And I had the Beyond meatballs. So it's Beyond Meat meatballs. So it's better, plant-based and good for you theoretically. So yeah, quarter one in this year. So January, February, March, no drive-through. Okay. And I'm trying to do no fast food. Although, like I said, right now, fast food, I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means I can't go out and get a sandwich somewhere because it's fast food. So for me, the no fast food is like no Wendy's, no McDonald's, no, Burger King, Harvey's, A&W, none of the burger joints, I think certain pizza places also fall into that category. And I'm also doing the no drive-through. So, as much as so no drive-through. I think that's basically it. If it has a drive-through, it's considered fast food. Okay. So to me, Subway is not fast food just yet. We'll get there. It's not to say I'm going to eat Subway all the time, but even then I'd probably be doing a lot better for myself than eating, burgers and fries and pizza and stuff. The second quarter, all right, for 2020, for me, 2020 is, no red meat. Okay. So I'm going to go no fast food and see if I can get 3 months of that, just being used to making my own food. And then it's going to be no red meat for the second quarter. So chicken and stuff I can still do. I don't think I would do a whole lot of pork at home. But yeah, no red meat. And then the third quarter is going to be, no meat at all. I think, or maybe just chicken. Yeah. It's like no meat. I think no red meat was third quarter. I could be wrong. I'm trying to think of what the second. Yeah, actually that's the way I had it. Sorry guys. Probably should have written it down and structured it. So no takeout at all. In the second quarter, and then it's no red meats because I'm trying to make all my meals at home, right? So so whatever I want at home, but just you got to buy it and come home and make it. And then finally it's no red meat at home third quarter, and then no meat in the final quarter. So because I'm going to try to be vegetarian by the end of the year. So theoretically by the end of the year I'll have only had 3 months of no meat. But it's going to be no drive-through, no fast food. So getting used to like little more self-reliance the first quarter. Then it's going to be no takeout. So none of the Subway stuff or any of this shit. Like I think sitting down eating restaurants, that's the deal. So I can't drive through them and I can't just go in and get takeout. I'm going to have to go to a restaurant, sit down and eat the meal like a human being. And then it's going to be no red meat at home. So I can come home and I can make, chickens and stuff like that, but I'm just no red meat at all. And then finally no meat. That's my resolution this year. I'm going to have other things going on too. I'm not going to just be like, that's all I'm going to do all year, but I'm focusing on my health. A lot of other things will be going on too that I'll tell you guys about, but for kicking it off, it's no drive-through, no fast food. Cause I know too, in my trip to Scotland in February, I'm not going to be able to like not eat, restaurants and pubs and stuff like that. Like that's the whole environment. We're traveling. We're going to be in different cities and towns. We're going to have to be able to sit down and have a meal, and we're going to have to be able to eat meat and stuff. I would imagine because the areas that we're going to are remote. Like where they make scotch is not like the hustle and bustle of the big metropolis. They're making scotch out near the ocean. So it's like, do you have any kale, like quinoa bean salads available for me, please? I'm highly inaccessible as a world traveler.
I just know, like, my needs should be everyone else's first priority. And I don't even know why I came here. I just came here to put my agenda in your fucking face. So, no. Anyways, that's my my plan for it. So, yeah. Ooh, we call this the 1 man 20-minute podcast. So that's it. For the rest of my evening, actually for the rest of this week, I got a podcast I'm recording at Absolute Comedy Tamara. And that's a video one I'm doing with Sebastian Bourgeot from Montreal. He's coming in apparently all the way in from Montreal just to record this podcast tomorrow. So I'm so honored that he would think so highly of me to come in and to talk to my stupid face. I hope I'll be more entertaining on that podcast than I was on this one. Big shout outs to some of my friends who reached out to me. Mark from my buddy Mark Forrester for just reaching out. He was the only one who said, "Hey, where's the podcast this week?" So I appreciate Mark for paying attention. And some other friends, everybody. It's a lot of great New Year's wishes and everything like that. I appreciate everybody for coming out and doing that. For sending me messages. Thank you for thinking of me during the holidays. What else? I think that's about it. Yeah, it's not a lot this week, guys, and I do apologize for... listen, contact at onemanpodcast.com. That's where I get your emails, all right? I know you guys are still listening. I appreciate it. It's still blowing up on the East Coast. I appreciate all my U.S. listeners. I've got international listeners, too. You guys are great, and I really do appreciate you being there. Like, I'm sorry to have neglected you over the holidays, but I would imagine that you probably got just as much going on as I do, and it's not like this has been... sorely missed in the interim. But yeah, with being, quarantined in my bedroom sick or whatever, I haven't had a ton of and with, it's been dry and coughing. I'm not trying to make over a ton of excuses, but I really haven't been feeling well. So I haven't been talking a whole lot. I kind of been sitting quiet. A lot of people have been really quiet lately. I'm like, yeah, my throat hurts. My voice hurts. If I talk for more than a couple of, minutes, then I might start coughing. I had to do stand-up while I was sick on the 28th, and that was rough. I was fucking sick as a dog, and I hadn't talked that much, so I was on stage coughing and hacking, and I just had to explain to everyone, sorry guys, I've been sick, so I'm not used to this much fucking air and whatnot. But all that changes, guys. I got that podcast tomorrow going on. I've got, what do I have before I speak to you guys again? Because I talk to you again in a couple of days, right? So I'll let you know how the weekend goes. I'm hoping to have some fun. I was thinking about maybe going to see a movie tonight. I might go see that Knives Out, or I might go see Star Wars there, right? A lot of people are saying that now that J.J. Abrams is doing this one again, it's a better movie. So I'd love to know what you guys think of it. Was the Last Jedi, or whatever the hell it's called, The Rise of Skywalker, or The Fall of Skywalker, or Skywalker's Moonwalk, or whatever the fuck? Any of it good? So let me know. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great week. I appreciate your continued loyalty and listening to this podcast. I will let you know how everything goes. So far, 2 days in, I'm leaving here when I'm done the podcast to go get some bagels. I bought these funny little egg ring things at Bed Bath & Beyond. So you crack an egg into it and it fries perfectly, circle eggs. I love waking up in the morning and having breakfast sandwiches. That's one of my all-time favorite things. So it gets me out of bed in the morning. I'm like, ooh, I get to go downstairs and make a breakfast sandwich. So nice Kettleman's bagels, nice Montreal style bagels, and some fantastic egg rings. I could do the egg rings and make the perfect rings for the bagels of the eggs. And then it's fantastic. It's delicious. I'll take some pictures and let you know how those go. They look ridiculous, and they probably have to machine wash them every single time you use them, but I don't like that. I don't know if hand washing is going to work, but either way, I'm excited to try these fuckers out. And it's now 7:15. I haven't eaten all day, so I'm very hungry. And now that I'm sipping on some whiskey, got to make sure I don't have a repeat of New Year's. Oh boy. So yeah, listen, I'll talk to you guys next week. You're fantastic. Love you. Best 2020. Feel free to send me your resolutions, or at least maybe some of your goals. So for me, one last time, first quarter, no drive-through, no fast food. Second quarter, no takeout of any kind. So no pizza, no Subway, any of that shit. You're going to go out and eat. You're going to go out. You're going to sit down in the restaurant like a gentleman, and you're going to eat. And then third quarter, no red meat of any kind anywhere. So no buying steaks and bringing them home. No, when is the second half starts in June? So I'm going to have to start barbecuing up the steaks that I have in the fridge. So yeah, no red meat. So I'll be stuck on fish and chicken and limited quantities of pork. And then finally, October hits and it's no meat. No meat on Halloween. Okay. You guys have a great week. I will chat with you soon.